It's senior night in Chapel Hill, and I'm guaranteed to get misty-eyed, but dadgummit, we got business to take care of.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Thank goodness I don't have to say February anymore. I hate saying that month's name. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You've joined me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. Man, it's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your number one sports podcast network there is. Thank you for making us your first listener watch, and I want to give a special shout out to all the everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and our insiders as well. Great to have you guys here. Coming up on the show today, I can't believe that we are already to this point, but tonight is senior night for Seth Trimble, for Coach Davis's son, Elijah. That is crazy. So we'll talk about that, the importance of this game, because, hey, senior night's great, but there's business to attend to. We'll get to our Four Corners preview, that Clemson defense. We're going to have to talk about that. It could be the difference maker in the game. And then we'll get to the third segment where I'll give you some ACC scenarios where things stand right now, thanks to Duke. It's weird to say, but thanks to Duke obliterating NC State. It was weird. Quadir Copeland wasn't talking very much during that one. Interesting. So I'll give you some ACC scenarios as well as getting to know Clemson a little bit better, and we'll make game predictions. A couple quick housekeeping things for you. Huge congrats to Seth Trimble for winning ACC Player of the Week. Much deserved for his 30 points against Louisville, his 20 points against Virginia Tech, averaging 25 points a game last week, shot over 60%. I mean, just a crazy week from Seth. Number two, housekeeping. The RJ Davis honor ceremony, it got rescheduled for tonight's game as well. So it's both senior night and welcoming RJ Davis back to honor. I mean, you cannot lose this game. And then thirdly, as always, we will be live after the game tonight. Would love to see you here. It's going to be great. Hopefully a party and not a therapy session. Let's go. Let's get it right now. It is senior night for Seth Trimble and for Elijah Davis. And this is always a weird moment. Every other year, this game is Duke. Every other year, it's a different team. And it's always strange because you want to honor your seniors, but you just feel this weight of sending them out on the right note. And I know at some level, Seth will feel the pressure of that, but often it's on everybody else. It's incumbent upon them to send off Seth into the sunset with a win in his last game in the Dean Smith Center. So that's what's going to happen. Now, as a note, in the Roy Williams era, they would always do those speeches after the game. That hasn't really happened in the Hubert Davis era. However, the basketball communication announced on Monday this, quote, "Be sure to stay in your seats after the game. Seniors Elijah Davis and Seth Trimble will be addressing the crowd. Please stay and listen to our two seniors who are playing their final game in the Smith Center." So if you're going, man, this is really, really neat. If you don't have plans to go, see if you can find a ticket somewhere, somehow, and go check it out. Coach Davis has alluded to the fact that a lot of the time they haven't been doing these speeches because of just the personality or the personnel that doesn't necessarily want to. But in this case, it makes sense. Both these guys are very well spoken. They enjoy doing it. And so I think this is going to be a very, very special moment. The one that always comes back to my brain, I'm even like, I feel it welling up inside me as I'm saying it, is Marcus Page, who's now an assistant. The words he said to Coach Roy Williams, obviously both of those men are going to be in the building tonight. And that just gives you the shivers to think about what a special moment that was. And so forevermore, I love these moments. But here's the key. As special as all that senior night is going to be, Carolina, specifically Seth, but the whole team has to avoid getting too caught up in the emotion of it, because there's a level at which you can get too amped for a game. There's this weird sweet spot, just like on a bat, where you don't want to be down for a game, but you don't want to get so over the top that you can't control your emotion, and then you make mistakes because you're too into it. And so you need the aggressiveness. You need to come out ready to go. but you need to have a throttle on it. You need to be able to control it. You need to be able to rein it in. You need a governor on it, however you want to say that. That's what needs to happen. Don't get caught up in the emotion, but don't let it override things. And because why? Clemson, business trip. They don't care about Carolina's senior night. They're here to get fourth place in a double bye in the ACC. Carolina's there to do the same, and Clemson is intent on stopping that. Carolina can't let it happen. This is a game where Carolina is going to clearly miss Caleb Wilson. I mean, good grief. Clemson is tough. They're hard-nosed, and they're going to bring it, and Carolina's got to be ready for that, and they've got some size that they can play 3 through 5, so Caleb would obviously be a huge, huge help, and they won't have him. But Carolina 4-1 without Caleb Wilson. Now they need to make it 5-1. That's the goal. It's funny because I had said coming into this, there was this 3-game homestand before the Duke game. And I had said coming into it, hey, Carolina needs to win 2 out of 3. I wasn't even thinking double bye in the ACC tournament at that point. I thought that was gone, essentially, if we're being honest. But several other teams have taken more losses than expected. I was saying it in terms of NCAA tournament seeding, of like hanging on to a 7 or a 6 seed, not dropping to the 8-9 game. Carolina has already done that. They've won 2. And so now your boy is greedy. Isaac Schade loves sharing. I think it's a great thing to do, but not right now. I am greedy and I want all 3 of these home wins. I want perfection at home for the Tar Heels. Yes, season long, because that's really cool. I'll say more about that in a second. But in this mini homestand particularly, I want 3-0 because it all but guarantees, and I'll explain the rest of the scenario in a minute, but more or less guarantees the 4 seed. There is a weird scenario where even if Carolina loses, they wouldn't get it. But man, I'm greedy and I want it. Now, injury report came out on Monday night. Obviously, Caleb still listed as out. Weirdly, and some people are freaking out, and I understand it, but Seth Trimble popped on the injury list as probable. I'm not worried about it. It's not a thing, but think about it like if you're a fantasy football player. Every now and again, dudes pop up on the injury report just for a nick or a bruise, and they technically have to list it or they get in trouble with the league office, and then they get fined and stuff like that. So to me, this is essentially, unless something weird happens that we hear today, this is a formality with Seth. I'm not worried about it at all. It's senior night. He's playing. Bet your bottom dollar that. Now, the question is, I mentioned Carolina running the table at home, going undefeated. Right now, the Tar Heels are 17-0 at home. That matches the most wins they have ever had in one season at home, 17. So obviously, a win tonight sets a new record. Carolina, 18 home wins. Now, here's the other thing. This is really cool and potentially a great omen for this squad. In the history of the Smith Center, Carolina has gone undefeated at home 5 times prior to this year. And things have turned out pretty well. Thank you very much. In those 5 seasons, let me quickly run you through it. 1986-87 season, Carolina undefeated at home, lost in the Elite 8. 1992-93, Carolina undefeated at home. Need I tell you what happened? I will. National championship. Next time they went undefeated at home, 12 seasons later, 2004-2005, Sean May was part of that team. They won the national championship. 2010-11 was the next season. Not a national championship, but Carolina did go to the Elite 8 that season. And the most recent time Carolina has gone undefeated at home was the 2016-17 season. And all together now, say it with me, what did Carolina do that year? They were the national champions. So a great pedigree of what happens if you go undefeated at home. I'm not saying they're going to do it again, but man, that is a great omen. So get this done tonight, fellas. Make it happen, and it portends great stuff in the postseason. And of course, unfortunately, you know, like for a homecoming game in football, you want it to be against Podunk, Moose State, Northwestern Collegiate, you know, just some rando school that's not going to give you a game. Unfortunately, for senior night, that's not the case here. It's not some Boston College walk in the park. It's Clemson. Clemson is not a great offensive team this season, but my goodness, their defense is good. So Carolina has to come ready for a fight. You can't be all up in your feels about senior night. You got to be ready to punch them before they punch you, and then keep landing blows. You got to be tough nose. Brad Brownell always has his teams ready to go. This is a big Jaydon high game where that edge that he lives on, man, that's got to be there tonight. Don't go overboard. Again, don't go overboard with your motion, but be right there on the edge of it, on the precipice. Do it. And Clemson is old, too. That's the other thing. Their top 7 players are all juniors or seniors. They're the 29th oldest team in the nation per KenPom. So Carolina's got a fight on their hands, and if they don't show up ready for that, you're going to take a really disappointing loss tonight. I don't expect it, but you still got to go out and do it. We'll see what happens. To get ready for it, we got to get to our Four Corners preview, where I'll tell you more about that Clemson defense and how Carolina needs to offset it. We'll get to that in just a second. Right after I tell you about Robinhood. Hey, what if sports were traded like markets? Well, now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets change the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move right along with it. I always knew the game, but I never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Well, now I can take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. So trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Thanks for making Locked On Tar Heels your first listen or watch of the day and making the Locked On Network the #1 sports podcast network out there. Appreciate it. It's because of all of you. If you want to be even more involved in the show, check out our brand new Everydayers Club. All sorts of great perks. That link's in the show notes, lockedontarheels.supercast.com. Here we go with the Four Corners preview as the Tar Heels host Clemson tonight. #1, and a lot of these are in some form or fashion about the Clemson defense because that is the thing Carolina has to offset. So #1, just at the general level, Clemson's defense is their strong suit. A couple numbers to throw at you. They are 18th in the nation in defensive efficiency at both KenPom and Torvik. They are 19th in the nation in fewest points per game allowed at 65.9. I mean, that's really, really, really good. Part of this is, yes, they do a good job slowing team or stopping teams, but they also, I mean, it's not a Tony Bennett Virginia team, but these Brad Brownell teams, man, they do a great job of being methodical, of attacking when it makes sense to, but slowing the pace a little bit. They rate 335th in the nation in adjusted tempo. They hold teams to just 41.4% shooting from the field. That's 41st in the nation. They hold teams to less than 50% from 2, about 31% from 3. It's really, really good. Carolina is actually the better 2-point field goal percentage defense, but all around, the way Clemson does it is really, really impressive. I don't think, let me actually look back. I don't remember this off the top of my head. I don't think they force a ton of steals. Yeah, just shy of 6 steals a game. It's not, or just north of 6 steals a game. That's not where they do it. It's just with good, solid, fundamental defense. And so you got to be ready to be tough-nosed. And that means points are going to be at a premium. And Carolina's offense, which has been very efficient against Virginia Tech, for example, on Saturday, Carolina had their best points per possession of the ACC schedule so far. So again, Carolina's offense, even without Caleb Wilson, is finding ways to be efficient and get it done. I mean, it's so impressive to see, but this is a bit of a different beast. You got to be ready. You got to be locked in. Can't turn the ball over. Thankfully, Carolina doesn't very often. Take advantage of every opportunity you can because they are not going to be like Clemson is not going to beat themselves. You've got to go beat them is a good way to say it. #2 in our Four Corners preview, part of that is that offensive rebounds, which Carolina loves to get and get second chance points, are going to be really hard to come by. Clemson allows opponents to get offensive rebounds on just north of 25% of their opportunities. What's the frame of reference? That's 12th best in the nation. And so I know this isn't a Roy Williams team just like living on the offensive glass, but still this team relies on getting offensive rebounds and getting them back up. So what that means then is Carolina is not going to get as many second chance opportunities because they're not going to get as many offensive rebounds. But when they do get them, they got to take advantage. And I'm not saying you got to go wild and suddenly upset the apple cart that Clemson does. But if you could get, like 8 to 10 points, second chance points, that feels like a good number, right? And so if you're, I don't know if Carolina will send an extra body to the offensive glass because they want to make sure they get back and keep defensive balance in transition. I get that. And another part of this too is Carolina on the defensive glass can't allow Clemson extra opportunities. Carolina has to wrap up defensive possessions with defensive rebounds. Don't let Clemson start getting a bunch on offense because that would hurt you pretty badly. Now, the good news is that Clemson doesn't do much of that. They only get offensive rebounds 28.7% of the time, 242nd. A lot of the time, typically that's because Brad Brownell teams aren't crashing the offensive glass. They want to get back and stop transition. So as part of that as well, I should say Carolina shouldn't expect many fast break opportunities. But again, if they can find them, go get them. Again, premium on points. Number 3 in the Four Corners I almost said recap. Preview. Game hadn't happened yet. It's the preview. One more item about Clemson's defense is they don't allow many assists, just 10.3 per game, which is 7th in the nation. Carolina averages 16.2 assists a game, which is 56th in the nation. And so you're looking, can Carolina still get to about 15 assists a game? Or 15 assists in this game. Carolina does a great job with assist percentage, up close to 60% on the season. But obviously Clemson is not allowing teams to do that much. I can even tell you they only allow, I'm losing it. Where are you at? 45.9% assist rate defense for Clemson. Carolina wants to get much better than that. And so they're going to have to work hard at it, be very persistent, right? Now, how does Clemson shut that down? How do they stop a team from sharing? To be honest, I haven't watched enough tape on Clemson this year, and I haven't seen them enough times to have honed in on that. However, typically when this is the case, that there's a defense that doesn't allow many assists, it's because their defensive philosophy is to not overhelp, to really rely on staying man-to-man and not helping off. And sometimes that might mean you get beat or scored on, but it also means we're not going to get caught in rotation a lot, and then you get wide open looks either from outside the arc or at the rim. And so expect that. Now, the good news for Carolina is even though they love to share, what has been the best offense the last 2 games? Seth Trimble attacking at will. Now, you could get into some good pick and roll action with him and Veesaar, something like that, but Seth can just take his dude off the dribble. And so if Clemson isn't going to help, they're going to get burned because of Seth Trimble's athleticism. It just is the fact of the matter. And then if they do start bringing a little help, well, then he can kick out or dump off to Henri, whatever it is. And so watch for that. In a game where Clemson is not going to allow a ton of assists, who can take their man? Seth Trimble. And you don't have to diversify it, because if he can do it every possession, why not? So we'll see what happens. They do have some size, Clemson does, in the front court. And so Henry's going to have a load on his hands. Again, why you wish Caleb was in this game, but you need Jaydon High to show all of that kind of stuff. Which brings me to Four Corners preview point number 4. Carolina's bench has to show up in a massive way, just like it did on Saturday, to the tune of 32 points, if my memory serves correctly. Part of the reason for that, I'll get back to Carolina's bench in a second, is that Clemson's bench leads the ACC in bench scoring. And it's not just scoring, it's in terms of minutes played as well. Clemson utilizes their bench for 37.7% of their minutes, which is 48th in the nation. And so they're going to utilize their depth. They're going to score with their depth. And what that means for Carolina is they've got to find a way to match it. And so I want to see more of what I saw Saturday. Jaydon High coming off the bench and doing it again. He was a dude at the free throw line, and he converted 2 of his 3 shots from the field. Jonathan Powell, his best ACC scoring game as a Tar Heel. He looked confident. He looked aggressive. Do it again. And you never know who might get it, whether Jarin's in foul trouble again. Maybe Luka has another off night. You don't know, but the bench has to be ready to go, man. Really, really interested to see how that comes together. And so part of that conversation on back to the Clemson angle of it is Coach Brownell has tinkered with his starting lineup in the past couple games. So I'm curious to see what they decide to do, how they match up, and what that's going to look like. I can almost guarantee you what it would look like if Caleb was in the lineup, because they would use they've got 3 big guys to go against Carolina's bigs as well. But I don't know if they do that with Caleb out. So we'll see when the ball is tipped tonight and Carolina gets their first offensive possession. Speaking of that Clemson personnel, we need to get to know it better, but also I want to update you on ACC seeding scenarios. We'll do all that to wrap the show coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. Y'all, college basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there is always action on the court, and I'm here for it. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with college basketball parlay profit boosts. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your read on the games. You can mix those spreads, those totals, player props to match how you see the slate playing out. And then you just apply the profit boost and instantly bump up your potential payout. Carolina is favored tonight against Clemson, but barely. The line started at 3.5. It shrunk to 2.5. Can Carolina win and cover? Heck, I mean, by 3, you cover if you get that line right now. So go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, but now with more upside behind it. So head on over to FanDuel.com to get started. Again, that's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. This episode is also brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you still need to fill is sitting open because you don't have the time or margin to fill it. But when the pressure's on and you need the right hire, man, that's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs, who helps you reach the people that actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. No. You can actually target what you want to do. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I'm talking to you, companies just like yours have made 27 hires with Indeed, according to their worldwide data. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, but more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, that's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners to Locked On Tar Heels are going to get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. So head over there to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on Locked On Tar Heels. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions of hire. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. We're going to get to know Clemson a bit more in just a second, but first, let me update you on Carolina's ACC standings situation right now. There's a lot that could still happen between now and Saturday, because there's games tonight, there's games tomorrow, and there's games again on Saturday. So guaranteed by Saturday, the end of the day Saturday, we will know Carolina's seeding, but we could know a little bit more by the end of the night tonight and then again tomorrow. Here's what I mean. Currently, Carolina could finish anywhere from 2 to 6. Duke has clinched the outright ACC regular season championship. There's no catching them, even for Virginia. And Carolina can't fall as far as anybody behind NC State. Carolina, if they go 0-2 this week, could match Louisville with the 7 losses that Louisville has right now, and that's assuming Louisville doesn't lose again. But Carolina would have the tiebreaker over them. So as things stand right now, Carolina's best is 2, their worst is 6. And a win tonight, oh, by the way, against Clemson means no worse than 5th, because NC State's loss on Monday night means that they have 7 losses, and a Carolina win tonight means the most losses they could have is 6. So that's where things stand. So what is it going to take for Carolina to get a double bye guarantee and at least the 4 seed? Option 1, the easy way to do it is Carolina controls their own destiny. If they win tonight and beat Duke on Saturday, they are guaranteed of at least the 4 seed in the ACC tournament and a double bye. Could get better, but it just depends on what Virginia and Miami do ahead of them. But at worst, you win both and you get a double bye. But Maybe you, like me, are very impatient and you would like something to get wrapped up before Saturday. Well, guess what? It's possible. Despite the fact that Carolina has lost a few games they probably shouldn't have, and oh my goodness, the California trip haunts my dreams, right? You win those games, we're not even having this conversation right now because it's already done and over. But option 2 is this thing could be squared away by tonight. Or excuse me, tomorrow night. I said that wrongly. Now, I've seen this from a couple different places, and just you need to know, because they've said if Carolina wins tonight, thanks to the NC State loss, they clinch at least the 4 seed. That is false, and it's going to sound weird, but let me explain it. 3 things need to happen for Carolina to get guaranteed at least the 4 seed. One of them happened last night. NC State just needed to lose at least 1 game this week. They did that. Duke crushed them, absolutely crushed them. Number 2, Carolina has to win specifically the Clemson game. Why? Because then even if Carolina loses their last game of the regular season and Clemson wins their other game, they would tie, but Carolina would have the tiebreaker. So Carolina needs to win at least 1 game, and it's got to be specifically Clemson. And that's legitimately regardless of win or lose against Duke, which is great. But then the third thing, and this is the other one that's critical, is Carolina, this is going to sound weird, but needs Miami to win at least 1 game. Miami is at SMU tomorrow night and then hosts Louisville on Saturday. Here's the reason. Should Miami lose both those games, fall to 12-6, and Carolina go 1-1 this week with the win against Clemson, loss against Duke, and Clemson go 1-1 this week, the loss against Carolina and the other win, those 3 teams would be 12-6. And with the oddities of the offset schedule, with the way things play out, there is a world in which the tiebreaker scenario, if Carolina was tied with Clemson and Miami, even though Carolina beat Clemson head-to-head, but lost to Miami head-to-head, the Tar Heels would fall to 5th. So critically, you actually want Miami to be ahead of Carolina, unless the Tar Heels go 2-0 and Miami goes 0-2, right? But we're talking about a different scenario here. So all that said, just trust me, go with me. Carolina needs to beat Clemson tonight. And then ideally we get this thing squared away tomorrow night, and we're going to be big Miami fans and hope that they go win at SMU. Okay. Got it? Good. There you go. All right. Details of tonight's game. 7:00 Eastern, ESPN. It's at home, Dean Smith Center. Again, reminder, be in your seats early because there's some pre-game senior stuff, and then stay in your seats afterwards for the conversations. FanDuel has it. I just mentioned it in the ad read, but Carolina -2.5. Meanwhile, the line at both KenPom and Torvik is double that. Carolina -5. Something's weird there. Somebody's off, but whatever. Fine. Go win the game. I don't even care. All-time series record. Carolina leads 136-25. But the Tar Heels have lost 2 straight in this series, and they've lost 5 of the last 9. I went back and looked at the entire series record because that's the glutton for punishment that I am. This is literally the worst 9-game stretch of the series that Clemson, the Carolina Clemson series. It's the worst winning percentage over a 9-game stretch in it. So Carolina needs to get back in the win column tonight. You probably remember and are well aware, unless you're a recent follower of the Tar Heels, that one of the craziest streaks in all of sports history is that Carolina never lost at home to Clemson for the first 59 times they ever played. Carolina was 59-0 at home against Clemson until Clemson won for the first time ever in Chapel Hill in overtime in January of 2020, the next to the last year of the Roy Williams era. And then the last time they played in Chapel Hill, Clemson won as well, with the Carolina win in between. So Clemson's now won twice at Chapel Hill, and I don't like it, and I won't stand for it. So it's senior night. We're honoring RJ, and Clemson doesn't beat us in Chapel Hill. Go win this game, for crying out loud. All right, Clemson is coached by Brad Brownell, one of the longest tenured coaches in the ACC. This is year 16 for him at Clemson. Not ranked right now in the AP poll. They are currently tied for 4th with the Tar Heels, as we're talking about. 35th in the net. That makes this a quad 2 game. Very close. Top 30 at home is quad 1. So it was, come on, Clemson. It's that 4-game skid they went on. Had that not happened, this would still be a quad 1. For reference, Carolina's 25th right now. Already mentioned it, but they are 36th at KenPom, 27th at Torvik. So far, Clemson 21-8 on overall, 11-5 in ACC play. Best non-con wins, Georgia, Cincinnati, West Virginia, South Carolina. Nothing of the caliber of Carolina's non-con wins. Non-con losses at Georgetown. Carolina beat Georgetown at home, at Alabama, and then versus BYU on a neutral. Totally understand the Bama and the BYU should have beaten Georgetown, but all right. Best win of the season is that Louisville game on Saturday. They just don't have marquee wins, Clemson. But again, they are tough-nosed. It doesn't matter. Their ACC losses: home to State in OT, home against Virginia Tech, at Duke, at Wake, and home to FSU. So some blemishes. Carolina needs to win this game. I mean, just long and short of it. Usual starters. And again, as I mentioned earlier, Coach Brownell has tinkered with his lineup the last couple games. But the usual starters before the last 2 or 3 games are Dylan Hunter, Chase Hunter's brother, at the 1. He's a 6'3", 192-pound senior. He's the only player to start every game this season for Clemson. He's their leading assist man. At the 2 is Justin Porter. Although he's only 6'1", 180, and so sometimes he will pick up an opposing team's point guard because of his smaller size than Dylan. But the wrinkle for Carolina, obviously, is that Derek Dixon is a massive point guard. So I wouldn't be shocked if Porter picked up like Seth, probably, because he's the only one that, even still, he's given up a couple inches and definitely some size, because he's 180. What is Seth is like a behemoth? How much does Seth weigh? So this dude's going to be guarding Seth, but giving up. Oh, good grief. Come on. Get me to this spot in the roster that I need. Number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Seth Trimble, 200. Yeah, so Seth's got 200 pounds on this dude, right? So there could be some matchup problems for Clemson in the backcourt is what I intend to say. At the 3, and this is where part of the reason I said I wish Caleb was in this game, is Jake Wallin, who is 6'10", 210. So if Caleb was playing, that would be a Jarin Stevenson assignment, but because he's not, that's going to be Luka Bogavac. Now, Luka had Neo Avdalas on Saturday, who's 6'9", so he's used to some size there. Thankfully, Wallin is really thin and slender, and so Luka is not going to be giving up that much weight to him. In fact, Luka weighs more than he does. Good grief. So he's a wafer, man. That's what you need to know there. At the 4 and 5, this is where we get to the heft. RJ Godfrey, 6'7", 240. And you might be like, he's only 6'7". Jarin's got all the size on him. Yeah, but he's 240. You know, you look at Jarin, he's 215. So giving up a lot, Godfrey can bully you a little bit. And so even though Godfrey is 3 inches shorter than Wallin, he's got the heft and the size. And so like when they played Duke, it's Godfrey that guarded Cam Boozer at the 4, for example. And he's their leading scorer. So there's that. At the 5 is Carter Welling. He's 6'2", 240, a junior. He's their leading rebounder. As I said, they've tinkered with their lineup a couple times. Butta Johnson, one of my favorite nicknames, Butta, not B-U-T-T-E-R, B-U-T-T-A. Butta Johnson has started each of the last 2. And so if that happens and they start him again instead of Wallin, who he's been in instead of the last game, that would actually help Carolina's size a little bit. So we'll see what happens. Just pay attention to it when the starting lineups are announced. There are other guys you need to know their depth. Nick Davidson, 6'10", 235-pound senior, so he'll factor into the front court. Ace Buckner, a 6'3", 180-pound freshman. He's plays point, a little bit of 2 guard, whatever. And then Chase Thompson, another 6'8" freshman. He won't play a ton, but he will play. He's played in every game this season. So again, we're going to see their depth. Zach Foster is another freshman. He's out with an ACL for the season, but those other 9 guys guaranteed that they will play minutes. So watch out for it. My prediction for this game, ultimately lower scoring, of course, because of Clemson's defense, much harder to speed a team up than slow a team down. So I expect it to be played at a slower pace with fewer points. Give me Carolina 70-63 to cover and win and clinch at least 5th in the SEC and a perfect run through the home season. Incredible stuff. Keep in mind, and I forgot to say this as well, since it's senior night, Elijah Davis should be in the starting lineup, probably in place of not Seth. Seth will be starting either Derek Dixon or Luka. I don't know how they'll play that. Maybe in place of Dixon and you let Seth run the point. That seems to be the logical thing to do here. We'll see. I don't expect he'll play a ton because of the importance of the game. Probably the first dead ball or maybe second dead ball. And man, oh my gosh, that's going to be a moment. He's going to check out and he's going to give his dad a big hug and there will be weeping all around. Look, I'm a dad. I'm sentimental. Deal with it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for being with us. If you have not subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on both video and audio, do it now. Here's why I say that. It's really the audio downloads that help a ton. YouTube is great, but if you're a YouTube watcher solely, it would mean the world to me if you would also subscribe to the show on audio and download it. I know that sounds ridiculous, but man, you would be doing a huge solid and help spread the name of Locked On Tar Heels. If you haven't joined our Everydayers Club and our Locked On Tar Heels Discord, a great community of Tar Heel fans, do it right now. Those links are down in the show notes. We'll be live tonight after the game. Please, dear goodness, a party, not a therapy session. Can't wait to talk to you then. But for now, peace.